Hello, strivers. Pastor Dahlia wanted me to talk about surrendering and surrendering intellectually, um, which is partly a little bit of the reason why I had to take a break from everything as a whole bunch. And I'll probably end up sharing my story in full some other time. But since this week is about surrendering, we'll talk about that. But first, you should probably already start with the word surrender and what it actually means. I think people, um, and myself included, often think surrendering is a bad thing, and to the wrong person it is. If you surrender to the wrong person, it can be extremely catastrophic to your well-being and who you are and what you are. But surrendering to the Lord, it's definitely not a bad thing. It's not easy, I'll tell you that, but it's not a bad thing. And then to surrender your intellect is particularly hard. For those who are intellectual, analytical, logical, literal. Those people who are always thinking about plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, who always want to have, who are survivalists, who, regardless of what your faith will tell you, you always have to have a default. You always have to have something else, and to get you through. And to surrender that to God is to almost be, it takes a lot of vulnerability. It takes a lot of trust to be able to do that, because it's not easy to give somebody else that much power. And particularly, if you think the Lord is not doing what you think he should be doing, and which is often my issue, if he's not acting in the way that you think he should act, or talking to you the way you think he should be talking to you. And it's not that he doesn't want to, it's just that you have to learn to trust him in a way that doesn't reflect your own personal expectation, and that is what is the tricky part, to trust through adversity, to surrender your mind and your way to figure things out. Because you think about it, for example, if you are hungry, or if you are trying to save money or do something like that, the Lord will say, give your last $5 to that homeless person over there. And you're like, well hold on, I'm hungry and trying to save money. Why would I give my last to somebody else? And so you begin to think and question his motives, and you begin to think and question where he wants you to be. But oftentimes, 2020 hindsight, you look at that moment and realize that he wants you to give that up so he can replace it with something better, with more, with something more permanent and more fruitful, so that you don't have to always be down to your last $5. And that is where he wants us to surrender, to give us everything that we have in order for him to give us more. So not to belabor the point, but surrendering an intellect takes more intellect than anything, to be willing to sacrifice that and give it to him so he can mold it and make it and shape it. So, it's good to be back. So hopefully you'll be hearing more from me. But keep striving, strivers.